Welcome to the Sarah Angel Podcast, a podcast for artists, entertainers, and creatives to tell their stories, share their trials and triumphs, and talk about their next project.
Hi, I'm Sarah Angel, and this is my podcast, a place where I get to interview some of the most amazing musicians, entertainers, and creatives out there. Today I get to talk to my friend Teddy, aka Kickman Teddy. I met Teddy when I was working for Holland America Cruise Line as a performer for Billboard music show Billboard on Board. I was impressed by his amazing talent, his optimism, and his love for life. Teddy has been around the world as a touring drummer in R&B and in rock music, but that's not all. Teddy is also a singer, a rapper, and a songwriter. He's appeared in Rolling Stones, People, and Billboard magazines as a member of the smash hit band FreeSol. FreeSol was signed by Justin Timberlake after winning the Grammy Showcase competition. Today we'll talk about Teddy's new single, Cruisin', and life as a musician since the pandemic. What's up, Kickman? How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you wore your signature eyewear there.
The Rich Forevers.
I think those are literally the same ones. How long have you owned those?
This is actually my second pair of these.
Okay.
I have two pair. They're not cheap.
I just remember you wearing those on the ship. So
yeah, my black pair. These are the tiger stripes.
Oh, they're different.
Yeah. And the B is bigger.
I love it. Well, how are you doing? What's happening? You were telling me when we talked a little earlier, you were telling me you're starting some new projects. I want to hear from you. What are you doing?
Oh man, I've been all over the place lately. I've been doing my own project, working on some new music, and let me see. I got Pelvis Presley. He's dropping this in about a week, and I got my homie Mo Danger. So both of those I'm doing features on. So
Pelvis,
yeah, staying busy.
Who's Pelvis?
If you go on Instagram, IG, he goes by the name of Pelvis Presley. Okay. And he does a lot of work with 3-6 Mafia and many other artists. So, I was able to be in the studio one night and he heard me flowing on the mic. So he was like, I want to keep that. So I was like, what, So
one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast is just because I've always really admired like your positivity and your really good energy and just how you always seem to take things in stride. And I just want, I think it's really important to be that way as a musician. And I just want to hear from you, like what kind of drives you to stay that way with that same energy?
I have a drive that, keeps me wanting more. I've seen over the years, especially working with Justin Timberlake and how he worked in the studio and his drive and his love for it. Like, he took it and he takes it serious, and to see where he's at made me want that more. And many other artists that we worked with, from producers to writers or whoever, it's like nonstop and you're always almost like recreating yourself. So I've been like that all my life, though. Like, I don't settle for less. I don't like just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, just thinking about it. I want to be doing it. So that's just a part of me and always will be. I don't care, how old I get. I'll still have that drive and that passion and that love. That's the thing that I do have is a true love for music.
I love that drive to keep going no matter what.
Right.
So I have a question, because we've only talked about this a little bit in the past. How did you meet Justin Timberlake?
Back in like 2006, we did a showcase for him. We had like another deal on the table before we even came in contact with him. And I'll never forget, we were down in Atlanta and we were getting ready to sign this deal. And it was another major company. And we were ready. Like, the deal was pretty much out there. We had had a meeting that day. And we had won the Grammy showcase. And after that, then we hooked up down in Atlanta. So as we were heading home, getting ready to change our lives, move to Atlanta and, you know, all that good stuff, we wound up getting a phone call. And Free, which is the front man of the band, he was like, well, I just got a call. And we was like, who was it? He was like, guess. And we was like, who? And he was like, it's Justin on the other end. He wants to know if we want to sign with him. And he wants to keep us home base in Memphis. And we then, as a band, like, made a decision. And we had a show of hands who wanted to sign with JT or who wanted to pursue the other label.
Okay.
And just say some got outnumbered, and we wound up, you know, staying home and signing with Justin. But before we signed, he had a showcase for us in Memphis. He did actually 2 showcases in Memphis. One was at a smaller venue, and then we did the second one at the Kickman Guitar Factory, downtown Memphis. So the first one was supposed to be private, and it wound up being packed out full of people. So word of mouth, people just started finding out about it. So what was supposed to be private became kind of huge. And the second one was at the Guitar Factory, as I said before. And he just made that bigger and invited like more bands and stuff like that to make it like a show, you know?
Right.
And from there, it led to the signing of the contract for us. And then we became, you know, his band. And
so I read in your article, in the Rolling Stones article you sent over, that Justin was actually going on stage with you.
Yeah.
It was like opening up your shows. That's so cool. I mean, and then, you know, then they were asking you guys a question about that. They were like, well, do you mind that he's like in your show or something? Somebody asked you guys that question, and you guys were like, no, we love it. Wouldn't you? I mean,
it was like he was a part of the band. Like, and people didn't even realize at one point that it was him until he came out front. He was just back there jamming out on the keys, you know, and we had did like maybe 2 or 3, 4 songs in before he even came out, you know, and did his own songs. And we was actually backing him at that point. But he was just like a part of the band. And it was really cool because we had gotten so used to him being around and you know, performing with us. It was like he was just a 5th member of the band. So we were like, you know, okay. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want,
you know, a celebrity headlining their show with them when you're just like starting out with the label, you know?
Right. And that was in New York. We were actually in New York. I think it was the Urban Plaza, downtown New York, I think. And it was 901 Fest. It was his tequila night. And we wound up playing that. And when I tell you the place was pretty much packed and sold out, like it was standing room only. And to be in that atmosphere at that time and those people and the energy, I mean, you know, it's kind of surreal. And at moments I would have to pinch myself because I'm like, I'm backstage kicking it with Justin and we having a good time and talking about what we're gonna do, getting hyped up for the show. And it was just electric, it was amazing. I mean, he was like a brother, it was not us being starstruck or anything. He made us comfortable whenever he would step in the room. Like he gave us free will to be us, and he never second guessed us, or he almost, it's like he wanted more out of us. Like he expected that from us because that's why, he wanted us as his own, because he saw something in us that, we didn't see in ourselves. Because we were going around and we were winning competitions before then. Like we were already on the move, pretty much touring and stuff on our own. So it was like, we never thought about fame or anything like that. We didn't do it for that reason. We just went on stage and did us, and nobody was really doing what we were doing at the time.
Tell me about the band. So you guys obviously were a band before Justin signed you. You were already killing it as a band.
Oh yeah. When we won the Grammy Showcase, we had just brought on our lead guitarist, who is Elliot Ives, and he still actually tours with Justin right now with the Tennessee Kids. Shout out Tennessee Kids and Elliot Ives. We had just won the Grammy Showcase, and we had a 7-piece at the time. We had a DJ, trombone, a female singer. So it was like the Roots plus the female, and it was very different than what was going on at the time in Memphis. Nobody was really doing the band and MC at the time. So when I met Free, it was one day at an Applebee's in Memphis. I'll never forget, I took off work that day and he walked in and he saw me at the bar drinking a beer. And he walked over. He's like, "Man, you look like somebody." He was like, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a drummer." Like the next day, we were literally in his attic, like rehearsing, and we brought in more guys, and it just went from there. And then we just started like doing shows around the city and so forth. And then it just took off. Like people would come to our shows. Like every weekend, we would have sold out shows, like in Memphis. Like we started out just gigging in Memphis, and word of mouth, everybody just started hearing about the band. So it just started being a huge deal, and like things just started taking off really fast.
When he saw you at the Applebee's, were you wearing the glasses?
Yep. It's been me like from day one. They'll tell you, like, they was like, "Man, you will never be able to take those shades off, once you start, you will never be able to change that image." It's just been a part of me even before FreeSol. It's just, it was always there. I always rock the shades.
This is how I remember you. I remember the first time I met you when we walked into, the OB, the officers bar on the ship, and you had your glasses on and you kept telling everybody to get in the Uber.
On that good drink,
Did you like working on the ship?
Yeah, it's cool. Like, you get an opportunity to meet a lot of other people. Like I actually worked with this artist over in Canada maybe about a year and a half ago, 2 years. And it's crazy how I that happened, because it was the year I met you, I think. And
was it, a couple of years ago?
I wound up going to Canada and working with this artist, Earl Powell and Ben Pelchat. Both are well, let me rewind. Ben is from Toronto, and Earl is from California, and we was working on this young artist, up and coming artist now, Wes Mason from Toronto, Canada. And I didn't know who any of them were at the time. And I was introduced to them by this lady from the ship. And she was like, you know, I see you being bigger than the ship, like what you're doing right now. She's like, you have so much talent, and I could tell you stand out, and you're very different. And I kind of took it lightly. I didn't really, you know how when you're on the ship, you get a lot of people come up to you and talk to you. I didn't really think nothing of it, and she kept pressing me, every time she saw me each night. She was like, I got to introduce you to Earl. I got to introduce you to Ben. And I'm like, okay. And when I got home, when I left the ship, we were still communicating. She called me up and she was like, well, I got it set up for you to meet them. They want to bring you in. They heard that you work with Justin, and I think you would work well with them. And Ben he's worked with Jennifer Hudson. He's a Grammy winner. And he's done so much. And when I started looking him up, I was like, wow, it's crazy how you can be involved in something so unique. And from the first time I met them, when I got off the plane, it was like they embraced me like I was already part of the circle. And, they was pretty much almost done with this album, and it was like a natural brotherhood at the point of me stepping off the plane. The city was electric. I just felt right at home, And when they brought me in, I was like, man, what do y'all want me to do? Like, y'all pretty much done with this record. Like, and right before we was about to shut down the session, I wrote, I made this track for Wes. And I was like, man, you got to listen to this. And everybody loved it. So it was like, okay, we're going to push this as a single. So the title of it is I Want Your Love. And shouts out to Wes Mason, by the way.
Isn't it funny when you're in the right place at the right time and it's serendipity, almost like it's meant to be. And when you follow that path and you're where you should be, and if you go where you're being led and you take that step, it's so crazy what happens, because you end up having those relationships where you're so close to people that you've never met, because you're where you're supposed to be, right?
It's all timing, and it's, I for one, I'm always led by my spirit, by the spirit, I'm always led, like when I feel something. It's even when I write, when I feel something and I know something without a shadow of a doubt, it's just the right feeling. You just get this feeling that's like, man, I got to do this. This is for me. And, I've always been that type of person when it comes to doing whatever. It's like I have a drive, I have an itch for it. It's like, God has put me in so many situations where I knew it was the right timing. I knew it was the right thing for me to be doing. So, I didn't second guess it. Sometimes when you start second guessing, for me, if I start second guessing too long, I know it's not for me. But when I get a feeling to do it, I just do it, no matter what the cost. Won't nothing stop me if it's something I really want to do. Just like with going out on the ship, a lot of people thought I was crazy. Man, how you gonna be out on the water for that long? I wouldn't do that. Like, people told me a lot of stuff, like, man, you can't rap. You need to stick with drums, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And it's like that would add fuel to my fire. It's just something that I feed off of that. If somebody tell me no, I want to prove them at that point, man, you're a lie. I can do whatever I want to do.
There's a couple types of people. There's the ones that are like ready to go. And then there's the ones that they get the opportunity or the chance falls in front of them and they go, I don't know. You know what I mean? And so how did you become that type of person that just, you take the chance and you just go, you take it? How did you get to that point?
I mean, when I don't think my mom probably don't know to this day. Like, I was skipping school, like, and I was touring with artists already before I even graduated. So luckily I graduated, but she asked me one day, she was like, "Boy, where you getting all this money from?" And I didn't want to tell her, so I lied to her. I was like, "I'm cutting hair," because I cut hair too.
Okay.
And so I never told her that I was skipping school, and I was getting my friends to sign my name off the absentee form at school. But it's just I could be working a job, and I knew, man, this job is not for me. It's something. It's just a feeling I've always had within me, within myself, to know where I need to be and where I want to go. So I never let anything stop me. I've always had that drive, and some people have called me crazy and said that, I can't do it. That to me alone, like, just does something to me, because I feel like I can prove them wrong and I can do whatever I want to do. So it's like, once I set my mind to it, there's no turning me back, And my mom always told me, she's like, "I envy you, for following your dreams and your passion for love for what you do." She told me that,
Oh.
and I've never wanted to disappoint anybody, I remember when we did the Letterman show, and they all knew about it. And I didn't want to disappoint anybody. I didn't want to disappoint my family. I didn't want to let nobody down. I didn't sleep that night. Matter of fact, I stayed up until showtime, and that's how much adrenaline I had for doing it. It was like I never wanted to let anybody down, and so I don't know. Just
What when you say you never want to let anybody down, what do you who did you think who are you worried about letting someone down, like at the Letterman show?
like my mom, my dad, like the people that brought me into this world, my nieces, my nephews, my aunt, because both sides of my family like are musically inclined. So
But how would you let them down though? What do you mean?
I felt like it was my obligation to give back to them
Right. Well, they
in
must
in a giving way, in a giving back way, like, thank y'all.
family must have like been super duper just like so excited.
Well, see, they didn't know that we had pre-recorded it, and I think I flew home maybe the next day. And
Okay.
I walked in on everybody, and they was watching it as I walked in, and they didn't even know I was standing there. I
No
was
way.
standing behind everybody, watching them watch me.
Oh, that's
And they were like screaming at the TV, like, there he is, So it's like, it's moments like that, it lets you know, man, I've done well. I've done some things right, and the things that my mom and dad and everybody instilled in me, it sticks with me, and I never want to downplay that. I want to live that up. Like, that's when I say I don't want to let them down, because for the
right.
ones that stuck with me through thick and thin when I didn't have anything, for the ones that opened their doors to me, to the ones that let me sleep on their couches, for the ones that took care of me, gave me money, those are the people that I say I don't want to let down,
Right.
because I take it very serious. It's something I don't play around with when it comes to my drive for the music and the love, because it goes beyond that, and even going overseas showed me a lot more to me. I would see people be emotional when it came to music, how powerful it is, and how your craft and your gift will make so many doors open for you. So you have to be aware of how you treat it, and your work ethic and your drive, everything that you bring to the table, you leave that out there, you leave that on stage, and I don't care if it's one or two people listening. you treat it like you playing for thousands, you know? And I don't look at numbers. I don't look at numbers. I don't look at color. I don't look at race. I don't look at none of that, because the only thing I see is love and unity and embrace. And that's the only thing I want to give coming from here. I know if I give from here, somebody out there is going to feel it. So, you know, I give over and beyond when it comes to what God has given to me. I give it back.
You said something earlier about people saying that you can't rap. Mm-hmm. And then I listened to your single, and you're rapping with Mike Sweep. What is that song called? Tell us about that song.
Cruising. We actually recorded that on the ship. I was creating the track one night in my room, and I was like, man, I got this crazy idea. I'm gonna call up Kennard. Kennard, he's I think he was on The Voice. He did The Voice. He's done background, I think, for Monica, I want to say. But he's great vocalist, great artist, just great all around the board, you know. And he had just gotten on board with the BB King All Stars. And it's crazy because I felt like when I saw him on The Voice, I felt like I already knew him. And I had never met him. So when I saw him on the ship, I was like, that's the dude from The Voice. And so when we started talking, I said, man, I got this track. So I called him up. I was like, hey, can you come by the room? You know, I want you to hear this track. Tell me what you think. And, you know, you want to get on it. He was like, man, I'd be more than happy to. I'm on my way. Within like 5 minutes, he come knocking on the door. And I was like, so all you got to do, add your first verse. You know what I'm saying? The next day, I had already taken the track to Mike. Mike had already laid his vocals on it. And it was just crazy because everything started clicking like that. And we didn't waste any time. Like everything just kind of like fell in place. And it's crazy because when I do certain songs, I can already hear voices on it. I can already hear the melody.
Weird. I'm the same way. I can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it, and I could, even when he was singing with the All-Star Band, I could hear his voice already on the song. So I was like, man, if he add what he adds up there or from The Voice on this song, I said it's gonna be like magic. And I said, Mike, you add your part. I said, I'm gonna add the hook. The hook was really high for either one of us to sing, because Mike was trying to sing it. I was like, man, forget it. I'm just gonna sing it. I'm gonna belt it out loud. And I just started singing the hook, and out of nowhere, I had the hook. The song came together, and before we even left, we had like maybe a night to go, and Kennard came in and just cut his vocals, and it was like, there it is. And it's called Cruising, and it's on all of the musical outlets right now, the social outlets. You can go Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. It's pretty much everywhere. You type my name in, Kickman Teddy Cruising, it'll pop right up. So yeah, it's out, and I released it in July. I didn't think it was really gonna get any traction because I did it all myself, you know, independently, and I just teamed up with a management company. So we're in works of really getting into marketing more songs now, and getting songs placed in different, you know, from TV to you name it. We're trying to break down the door. So, and that's one thing I can say about being independent for me, and versus being signed. I have more say and control of my own business. This is definitely business for me. So
I want to ask you about the promotion that you did for the song, because I really like what you did, and I'm going to share it here in a little bit in this video. Before we go any further, I want to make sure everyone knows to go to sarahangelmusic.com and check out the promotion I'm doing right now for my brand new song. Hi, I'm Sarah Angel, a musician and a producer, and I'm giving away a 2021 Jeep Wrangler to one lucky person on December 20th to promote my new song, Dear Grandpa, and to benefit the Wounded Warrior Project. It's so easy to enter. Go to sarahangelmusic.com and click Enter Sweepstakes.
Go to sarahangelmusic.com to download the song and enter the sweepstakes.
Okay, so tell me about how you put all the promotion together for cruising.
Ain't no time to waste. Got the top back on some flipping chin. Don't know how to act. Shorty by my side.
Now, were you the main person promoting it, or did Mike Sweep and Kennard, were they promoting it as well?
They were posting it, on their pages, once I sent it out, I made sure I posted on every site there was. Any music site, any tags, I made sure I tagged certain brands. It's basically, the power of social media. You have so much more power than back when artists was, and really now that's why so many labels are suffering, because they know that a lot of independent artists don't need the backing that they used to need back in the day. So now times are different. It's different with being socially active, and I just treat that like a job. Like I took my own initiative of staying up late. I would get home if it was coming from the studio, or even if I'm in the studio, I make sure I take my iPad, my computer, and I work as I write, and I write as I work. So I made the two, just a job. Like, this is my full-time job, and I'm gonna send this out to everybody I can think possible. I even reach out to small indie labels. I'm not really focused on a major. I feel like if anybody come to me, they'll come in the right time. My focus is being independent and owning all of my rights, taking control of my brand, building my brand, making sure, I'm crossing my I's, dotting my I's and crossing my T's. And what I mean by that is making sure, I know the ins and outs of the what I want, and how to do business, and making myself aware of the business and what goes on, and getting the right people behind me as a team. Building my brand and building my team is important. And when I say building a team, I'm not talking about 15 people. I'm talking about ready-made people that's ready to work and in my corner. That's rather 1, 2, or 3, and it don't take much. And I swear you will be in places that you didn't think you were in no time. I didn't think my that record that I just told you about will be playing in Poland, and that Poland is right now one of the leading spots for me right now. There, Canada, it's several other spots. Like I said before, I got 8 countries behind me right now. 8 countries, got way more. But I'm happy right now, because within 4 to 5 months of me putting that record out, it's already gained traction. Just think if I had the push that it really needed, you know what I'm saying? And I did that on my own. So I kind of pat myself on the back, because I know, I'm just preparing myself for what's to come. And sometimes it has to start with you. That's the toughest part about starting out independent. You don't get what you need all at once. You get the right people and you follow that. And you get the people. I've had people hit me up since that record been out. Like, can I do promotions for you? Can I do marketing for you? Because they're going to come. When they see what you have, when they see what you bring to the table, they're gonna see that too. Plus, they're gonna see money, dollar signs, of course.
Of course.
But that's to be expected, and that's what I do. I just treat it like I'm the major label,
So I want to get back to the rapping because I didn't know until I don't want to lose that. I want to figure out, well, how'd you get into the rapping side of it? Because that's a cool part of you that I don't think a lot of people know about. Everybody knows about the Kickman,
Well,
but rapping is so different.
Because Free told me not long ago, he said, man, incorporate the drums and focus on rapping with playing the drums as well. Because nobody really does that. And I thought about it. I was like, you got a point. And he was like, now, he said, when you do that, you're gonna stand alone. Like you're gonna break so many barriers and boundaries. Like, if you do both and incorporate both. And so that's what I've been doing more of and focusing on that. And, because sometimes it's hard because I was singing and playing on the ship, I was singing background. I was leading some songs too as well, which was pretty easy. But rapping and playing is a little bit different, But I kind of, took to rapping years ago. My brother used to take me to the, we call it the track, but it was a railroad. We used to walk up there. I'll never forget. And he would literally make me battle these grown guys. I'm like 7 or 8. And he was like, see, my brother's pretty dope. He's pretty dope. So at the time, I really wasn't thinking about it. I would take raps and like flip them, I would take LL or, another rapper and flip it because I liked what I was hearing. And I've always been musical. I grew up listening to jazz. Kids thought I was crazy. I would go to sleep to classical, and I just trained my ear to learn a variety of music. Like, it didn't matter what kind of music it was. If it felt good to me, I listened to it.
Did your parents play instruments? Are they musical as well, or?
My dad played bass. I got a brother who has his band out now, who is the PC band. My uncles, they pretty much, on both sides. It's crazy because everybody did something, whether it was drums, sing, and you was always entertained. We was always entertained, and we was always entertaining. And I just grew up in that type of family. It was always music. So it was always in me from day one, from a kid.
Right.
I would get in trouble at school for beating on my shoes, on my desk. And, and I never read music. I never took band or any of that. And
drumming.
It's crazy because I would find myself in jazz gigs and they would hand me sheet music.
Oh.
And just because I wanted to play so bad. And I'll never forget, the bass player would always look at me because he just looked at me one day. He was like, just follow me. Because he knew at that point, he saw me looking crazy. But I, and the gig was paying like major bucks, and he was like, just follow me. And they never knew it. They never knew I could not read music. And it's just crazy. I've been so many places, played for so many bands. I played rock before. I've been in rock bands. It's just crazy to me. I look back over my life and it's all because I never saw a limitation. I never saw limits. That wasn't anything to me because I felt like if I could hear it, I could play it and I could do it also. So I could mimic it and play it back to you, and it's just what it is.
So when you say when you say that you never saw limitations, is that something that you think maybe came from your parents, or do you think that maybe you just, that was a personality thing? Like where did that come from? Because I wish, I wish we could just like bottle that up and give that to everybody, right? Because
That's
I
just
feel
been
like
me.
most limitations that people set on themselves are in their mind.
Yeah.
They're not real. I mean, not us. There are limitations to physics and gravity and everything, right? But most limitations, I feel like they're not real, and a lot of people just tell themselves I can't do that or I don't know how to do that. So, is your parents or your parents like that? Are you or did they raise you like that? Did they tell
Um,
you that?
Nobody really told me any of that. I just I already knew what I wanted. I I felt like that as a kid. I would go to sleep and dream it and do it. Like it was certain drum rolls and fills I could hear in my head, and I wake up and be like, I can do that, and I would do it. It was the same way with traveling. Like I was afraid to get on a plane, but I was like, I'm going, and I did it. Like
I love
it
that.
was never a second guess. It was always, I'm gonna do that because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I dreamed of, and it's like I just I just did it. It wasn't a point of second guessing it. I don't I don't think anybody told me to do it. My mom definitely didn't tell me to do it. She would always tell me though, if it's something you want to do it. Don't be afraid. You know, I saw my dad play bass. I saw my uncles play bass, and that just drove me more. Like, they gave back into me. My uncles would help us write music. I would write with them, my brothers. Is it?
Do you think it's a spiritual thing? I mean, do you think it has to do with your faith, that you just have this feeling that you don't have a limitation?
Yeah, I do. I do be and I used to it was crazy times because we would be on tour sometimes, and I would find people come up to me wanting for me to minister to them. And at the time I was afraid of it. I used to get afraid of it until I stepped off the plane one night, and we was doing the show, and I walked in the building and it was dark. Nobody in there but me. The band had walked off and went to the dressing room, and it was pitch black dark in there. And I remember I was the only one walking through the hall, and this guy came out of nowhere. He was like, but before that, before I got off the plane, it was like again the spirit spoke to me and was like, "You're gonna meet someone who's gonna tell you what you need to hear." And that person stopped me in the middle. I kid you not. I wanted to run, but I stood there and I talked to the guy, and he was like, "You don't know me." And he was like, "But you have a glow about you, and you have something so unique and powerful. I don't even think you know the power that you have." And he was like, "Don't take that lightly." He said, "Wherever you go, always be mindful of your power, and don't be afraid to let your light shine, even in the darkest place." And I didn't even tell the band. I think I told maybe one person about it, but it shocked me and it scared me so bad. And
It came out of nowhere.
after that came out of nowhere and like vanished on me. I never saw that dude the rest of the night. When he walked off, I went outside to look around, and there was nobody there.
What do you think? Do you think, I mean, you think he was an angel, or do you think?
I just I don't know. I I don't know. I thought he may have been a worker or something, but
Uh-huh.
he talked to me, and I never forget that. I will never forget that. Like, it's moments like that. I had a man crying on my shoulder one night because he was going through a bad breakup, and my homie was like, talk to him, talk to him. I don't know what to say to him. And the man was literally crying on my shoulder, and I'm trying to set up my drums, and and he was literally standing there crying, boo-hooing, like. And when I got done talking to him, I don't even know what I told him, and he was like, thank you so much. I needed that, and it's like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. Without even thinking, sometimes I go outside of myself, and I know that's just the spirit of God. It's not me,
Wow.
And, I just began to let God use me in different ways after that, and stop being afraid of my calling. And I know this is just the calling for me from God, no matter where I go, no matter the setting, the background, where I am, it's like I gotta let that light shine, and I'm not afraid of it anymore, because that's love. God is love. God is peace. God is joy. God is happiness.
Preach it.
And people see that in you, though. People see when you're different. They know when you're different because that light. And we all have that light, and we have to be mindful of how to use that. And sometimes we abuse that light. Sometimes we give it into other things. We give it to drugs. We give it to drink. We give it to whatever, sex. We give it to other people, And sometimes, man, our light is too big for other people. Sometimes that light is too big for other people to get, They want it. They want that same light, but they don't know how to get it.
Let's talk about that, because I've seen that over the years with friends and, people I knew, that, as you grow, as you progress as a person, as you even progressing spiritually, actually mostly progressing spiritually, you but even professionally as well, you leave people behind, because, and it's not even that you're trying to, but they can't raise to that level. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
how do you deal with that in your life? Because you've always been somebody that's on the stairway. You're going up, 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 and you always will be. How do you deal with that when you have to move on to the next level of your life?
Well, how do I deal with it? I try to love a little bit more harder, and I just try to be a little bit more giving, and give more and give back, because I know this is not about me. When I'm gone, you know, I want to leave that lasting legacy, to know that, somebody was able to get what I gave back, and that's just, I don't mind giving back and teaching, and letting somebody that needs to know, if it's a kind word. Sometimes it's the smallest things that we forget about, because we want this first. We want the bigger first before getting the small. If you can receive the small, then the doors will open to the greater things, you know? Sometimes we want it in an instant. We live in an instant society. This world is made up of, like, the largest things, when it's really the small things that really matter. If I tell somebody, yo, man, great job, or pat them on the back, show them love, give them their flowers while they're here. Don't wait till they're gone. That's too late, If a person is doing a great job, let them know. If it's a younger musician coming up, let them know what they need. Like, give back into them, because they're the next generation. They got so much more to learn and to do, and I see so many up and coming musicians fall short because of what they don't know, and they don't have that upbringing. They don't have that teaching, and sometimes all people want is for somebody to listen to them, you know, and I find a lot of young cats that need somebody to listen to, and we have to be able to take time out and show them the way. And if I'm able to do that, you know, I'm cool with that.
You
I'm
like
blessed by that.
mentoring? You
What's
like
that?
you like to mentor people?
When I have the time to do that, yes, yes. You know, I wish that so many musicians could have an opportunity to take a class on how to conduct themselves in a professional setting. Um, I would find myself in meetings sometimes when we was signed with Interscope, and when people probably didn't think I was listening, because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a saint all the time. I would get heavily intoxicated in meetings and in the studio, and I look back now, and I even when I do stuff on my own, I see the things that I did learn, you know, and I'm appreciative for being able to gain the knowledge that I did when I had the opportunity. So it wasn't all in vain, you know. I had my fun, and I did a lot of stupid things, but I'm glad I was able to grasp the things that I needed when I needed them, you know. And yeah, it's a lot of artists, it's a lot of younger artists um don't know about signing deals and getting the wrong deals and getting bad deals. You know, it's so many that get lost in it. Just because you get signed to a major label doesn't mean that that's it, that I've made it. Yeah, they'll show you the money, but do you know what kind of deal you got? Do
Right.
you know you will be owing them back at the end, because it's not your money? Investing wisely, how to invest, invest your money. All of the money you make, don't blow it all. The first thing that artists want to do now is show their chains, their cars, but what is that? Where is that gonna lead you to? What are you gonna invest in? What kind of values um will you instill in yourself? Like, you know, it's like the industry give it to them, but they know they're gonna either blow that money, or they'll be a one hit wonder, or they'll be a no hit wonder. Because just because you're signed doesn't mean anything, you know. And we get blinded by the money, we get blinded by the fame, we get blinded by a lot of things, you know. And I think I really appreciate the artists that was before me, that really grinded and really had to do the hardest work of entertaining, you know, and to just to be relevant, you know. And even now I have to find myself reinventing myself almost every day, because it's always something new.
I want to ask you more about, because you were just talking about reinventing yourself, and it seems like a lot of the stuff that you do, you just kind of pick it up. You don't really, you don't worry about whether, you're not looking at whether you're the best or even good at
Nope.
it at the moment. You're just going like, well, I want to rap, so I'm going to rap. Um,
I do what makes me feel good. I don't do it because somebody else tell me to do it. I do what I want to do. I do it because I love it. I do it, you know, without even thinking sometimes. I'll hear it in my head and I know, oh, it's time for me to pick the pad up and start writing, or
right.
put the phone to my mouth and start singing, you
Right.
know. And that's just, you know, that's how it comes about, you know, ideas, you know. Um I
So,
don't always rap it. Sometimes I sing it, you know.
right.
So, you know, sometimes people get caught up into, okay, I have to sound like uh T-Pain, or I have to sound like this, or I have to sound like this person to get on. I just want to sound like me. If I sound different to people, I may stand out more. I might stand alone. That's not a bad thing. I don't listen to a lot of people. I listen to maybe a handful of artists. A lot of the newer artists I don't really know about, but I just do me. I shut everything off sometimes. I just do what I feel, and do what feels good, and hopefully it'll feel good to somebody else, you know.
I'm the same way, and especially like in the studio, I like what I write. I mean, I really like the music I write, and I used to be really, not really sure of that music so much.
Mm.
And then so a producer or somebody engineering the song could basically tell me, well, I don't like the chorus, or I don't like this, or whatever, not the chorus, but whatever they said. And I used to, kind of not really defend what I wrote.
Right.
And now I'm like, no, I like it. That's how I wrote it. I love it. And I don't necessarily care if you think it's a hit or not a hit. Like,
Right.
it's my song, Do you?
I used to be like that. I used to be critical and hard on myself. I used to be afraid to share it.
I used to as well. How'd you get over that?
I had to start doing it. Like, I didn't want to write about my sadness or my love stories or my personal. I felt like that was really personal,
Mm-hmm.
But and I was doing my first album, and it was on the ship, and I told my homie, I was like, man, I'm kind of afraid to. He was like, did you live through it? I said, yeah. He said, did you learn something from it? I said, yeah. He's like, well, why are you afraid to share it? And I thought about it, and since then, it's like I put all of that aside, and I was like, when I started doing it, I heard more and more people tell me, man, I could relate to that. I could, I was going through the same thing. Like, I really felt you on that song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like you're preaching it. You're giving them something to go on. And when they see you, it's like, wow, man, thank you. Thank you for that song. Like, you saved me from doing this, or, my life was really here and I heard your song. Like, to me, that's just a blessing, that I'm able to share my gift in that form. Just writing a story in 3 minutes. 3 minutes and something to tell a story.
How did you get so good at drumming without lessons, or did you have somebody that taught you or mentored you? What'd you do?
I just would get up and do it.
When did you start, in school?
I started when I was like 3. I used to sit on the front steps of our house, and I had either chicken bones or spoon and fork most of the time. And I would sit out there and play so much, it would draw attention to people. And like, they would literally come up and start listening to me play. And I didn't think nothing of it. I just knew I heard the rhythm and what to play and what I wanted to play. And
So when did you
it's
get
just
your first drum set? How old were you?
probably like 5, and I tore that up because I built my own drum set. My
What do
dad
you
bought
mean
me a
you built
little
your
set and I
own?
tore it up.
What do you
So
mean you built your own?
I had I don't know, it was crazy. I had like some of my uncle's old toms that he took off of his drum set, and I got a tire rim. I remember building a foot pedal. I would get a flat piece of wood, put a groove in the middle of it, put a stick under it where you could move your foot and make it kick. So I would put this little this piece of iron on there to make it stand up, put the ball on the top, and then I had a foot pedal. Even carved out my own sticks to make it look like a drumstick. And I had my own little drum set myself. So I didn't want the real set.
That is very industrious. You're carving your own drumsticks as
My brother was the same way though. He made a bass guitar out of a screen door wire and a piece of wood. So when you smack it, it would go boing, boing, boing. So we made up our own little band, and we had a two-wheeler that we used of my grandfather's. We used to load it up like it was a van, and we used to travel around the backyard like we was traveling out of town. So we was mimicking everything we saw our uncles do. So we would just load up. Yeah, we would load up the two-wheeler. All right, we in Chicago tonight. So the next we'll be on the back porch and acting like we was in Chicago. So
It was like funny.
It was like we had our own imagination like to it, you know.
Did you load in your wooden drums set and your screen board?
Load that stuff in like clockwork. Every day during the summer we got up and that's what we did. We performed
little instruments in the car and drive around in the backyard.
Yep.
I love that. I love that you're, you know, it sounds like your family has really, being close to your family has really influenced your decisions and your success. And
that's why I say I can't let them down, because
right.
I feel like my family name carries weight. And I you know, I don't know if anybody else feel like that. That's why I don't disrespect my family name. Like if I'm on social media, I'm just not on there talking about dumb stuff or, you know, stuff that holds no content. I want to be on there advertising. I use it for advertising. I use it for showing my accomplishments. I don't just use it for everyday show, or my dog is running around the backyard. You know, that's fine. It's cool if that's what you want to do. But I believe, you know, if I'm, you know, doing me, that's just me. I watch how I carry myself when I'm in public. And like I say, you know, I feel like my family name holds a history. It holds so much weight. You know, that's just a part of me. And that's the way I feel. You know, I don't want to be a disgrace to it. I don't want to disgrace my family name, because it goes a long way. You know, and it has taken me a long way. My family name stands up in this city, you know. And
were your parents, were they strict on you guys?
I'm not gonna say strict. You know, they didn't spare the ride. You know, when it came to chastising, and they, you know, they wasn't going to just let us do and run wild and do what we, you know, do in and everything. But growing up, we pretty much had a leeway of, all right, you come home at 12, you know, and that's what it was, you know.
With my family, we didn't. My parents were really strict, but we had this thing where we had all these unwritten rules where they never told us. They never told us you can't go drinking. We just knew.
Same here.
But you know what? That never was going to happen.
The respect that I had for the fear that I had for my mom and my dad. I didn't want them to see me drunk or come in drunk, because I came in drunk a couple of times and high. Don't get me wrong. But I had a respect for my father. He had, from the day I left that house, and I still have that same respect now. I don't curse in front of him. I don't curse well, I said a few curse words in front of my mom before.
Oh no.
But I've had like all of my life, they struck fear in us when it came to doing.
Fear is that's a really good thing for kids. Kids need that fear to show them, like when they're a kid.
You know what? It's not so much fear. I think it's a respect. It's a respect.
They're showing you the boundary.
Yeah.
They're saying, don't go over this boundary, because if you go over this boundary, you're going to get in trouble. And because they put that boundary down for you, now you start to see, you know, and you cross that boundary, you test them out, and you get the belt, whatever. And then you start realizing that boundary in life, like all the time. You see the boundary now. Whereas I feel like a lot of parents, when they don't give that boundary to their kids, like the kid doesn't see the boundary later on.
Right.
So yeah, I think you and I were probably raised really similarly.
But you know, it shows, man. Like, you can tell when a kid have come up in a household that they respect their foundation, you know, and that starts at home. You know, a lot of times you get kids acting out because either the parent wasn't in their life, they didn't have time for them, or they didn't give them to them. You know, because there's so many kids out here with so many talents, and they get overlooked by the streets. And somebody telling them in the street, "Yo, come over here, do this. I got this for you. This look," and you know it looks good to them. But you know, if I feel like sometimes as parents, they can overlook kids in so many ways to not show them the love that they needed when they was at home, because all of that starts at home, man. Like, you know, I may have done some bad things, but in the back of my head, I always knew my dad told me one time, he said, "Son, I might come and bail you out the first time." He said, "But the second time on you, I ain't coming." And that stuck with me, though. It's like, man, I don't want to get locked up. My dad ain't coming to save me. So,
good father. I mean, you know, it sounds like a mean father, but really what he's saying is like, hey, I don't want my son to be in jail, but if you want to go to jail, you're going to make the choices to be in jail. I'm not going to save you every time, because you got to learn, right?
Not for the same thing anyway, you know? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, then why am I going to come save you?
Now, have you seen, this is the funniest thing I think I've seen on Facebook in a long time. It's this dumb video. It's a compilation of all these videos where they like trick the dad. The kid tells the mom to shut up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that just brought so many memories back. I mean, because I remember testing out my parents, you know.
My dad didn't play. Like, my dad did not play when it came to he could give us a look and we knew to go sit down somewhere, like, because he wasn't playing those games like talking back, or like, you know, we couldn't, like, if his friends was over, like, we couldn't even sit in front of them and, like, while they was holding conversations, you know, he was like, "Son, this grown man conversation, you know, you need to take it to the other room." So it was just, we couldn't be in the grown-ups, you know, presence when it was other, unless it was like family. But if it was his friends and, you know, they was talking conversation wise, like, we couldn't sit around and be in that, you know what I mean? So it's like we had to stay in a kid's place, you know, and that's just what it was, you know. My mom, she was pretty cool, but unless we really did something really stupid and just really out of line, then okay, that's it. You know.
Right.
But you know, it was just they instilled that respect in us, you know, that level of respect that they wanted us to have for them, you know. And that's just it, man. Like, you know, I love my family. I love all of them. You know, it's nothing but love, man. And, you know, the teaching that they gave us, I really appreciate, you know. I think that kept me from getting locked up and being in the
I
streets,
agree
you
because,
know.
and I don't mean for you, I agree for myself because I know there are many times in life when I decided not to do something because I was like, well, these kids might be able to do that, but I don't think my parents will be okay with that, you know?
Right, right,
So,
right.
um, yeah, my parents used to quote Bible verses at us, like
What?
yeah, like like I'd ask my mom, "Do you think I'm pretty?" You know, I'm like a little kid.
Hmm.
Um, Beauty is fleeting and beauty is vain, but a woman that serves the Lord, she shall be praised. You know, that that was my mom, and then my
Oh man.
I was like, you know, um, and then my dad. I remember one time my mom was away. She
Yeah.
was the more strict one. Who was more strict in your family?
I think believe it or not, my mom, like my dad, I I I had more fear for my mom than my dad. Like my dad, like he would, you know, he would punish us, but my mom, oh, she would go crazy on you. Like it would take the hand of God to come down and pull her off of us, you know. So we really didn't mess with either one of them. But if I had my choice, I would go with my dad over my mom's punishments because my mom would go literally ballistic on you. Like,
So yeah, my mom was the same. She had the heavier hand. She wasn't scared to spank us. My dad
oh
was
my
pretty
God.
I think she liked it actually, but I mean not really, but my dad my dad was he was like a more softer. He was like kind of softy. And
Yeah.
one time she was away, she went with my aunt. They Her twin sister. They went on some like 3-day girls trip or something, and it was
Hmm.
really rare in our family. And I was maybe like 10. I don't know how old I was, but just old enough to kind of like try to pull one on my. Maybe I was younger. Maybe it's like 8 or something. But I was just kind of like getting used to the fact that I could kind of get away with stuff because my mom was gone.
Hmm.
And my dad, I just remember him telling me to stop doing something, stop doing this, and I was really rude. I mean, I didn't even know what I was saying. I was just like, no, I'm not. I don't have to listen to you. Mom's not here or something.
Whoa.
I know, and I was just testing the boundaries. Like I just wanted to know like how much I could. He said, "This is what he said." To me. He's like, when the children of Israel, when, when the children of Israel were rebellious towards God, he stoned them. Or yeah. I mean, I basically
Wow.
like, are you gonna stone me, Dad? Um, and he gave me the biggest spanking. And I was like, I had way more respect for him after that
Yeah, I
because
bet.
he was such a softie. He was always really laid
Yeah.
back, you know. I gotta know, like, what are you doing next? What's your next move? Are you gonna go back to ships at some point? Do you like the idea of going back to ships now?
You know what? If um right now it's kind of sketchy, you know. Um it's really sketchy right now. And with these times that are uncertain, um I just don't know. Like, and who knows when everything is going to be all right. So, you know, it'll have to be at least 99% back to normal, you know, before I could really say yes or commit to it. It's just it's really crazy right now. So,
Where were you when Corona hit?
I was on the ship.
You were on the Koningsdam.
Yep.
Right? Because that's
Yep. We was finishing up. It was really the last week, because the 14th we got off, and I know that a lot of bands didn't even get to finish. They had just gotten on.
right.
And the band that was coming to replace us had just gotten on, literally had to turn around and get off because they shut the ship down. They were shutting everything down on the 17th.
Mid-March, right?
March 17th is when they start shutting up, closing the ports. Because we got shut down like twice before we could get off, because we couldn't even port like in certain ports. So
right.
St. Thomas was the ones that let us in the port. And they were like, well, y'all may not be able to get off in Florida. I was like, no, we're going to get off in Florida, because otherwise I'm going to jump overboard and swim the shore.
Exactly. Oh, man. So I left the Koningsdam in February, I think, and I went over.
Yeah.
I went back to Norwegian. So I was on Holland, the Koningsdam, and then I went back to Norwegian. And I can't remember which Norwegian ship I was on, the Breakaway. And that's when everything kind of went south. I was only there for a few weeks, and they first they quarantined only the crew, which was kind of a nightmare. And then they shut down the ship, but they wouldn't let any of us off. They only let the passengers off, obviously.
Right.
And it was right at the same time. So you must have been you were in Miami then, because I was in Orlando at the port.
We got off in Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and it was right at the end of the contract, which was the 14th, and we didn't really know how serious things had gotten at that point. Like, we knew of the corona virus, and but we didn't know how serious things were, because when you're on the ship, you're not thinking about that stuff, and you're not really watching the news, so you're only hearing bits and pieces. So, but we knew it was getting serious when they start shutting down the ports, and we was like, okay, we just want to get off here now. Like, we're at the end of it. We just want to get home. And when we got to the airport, we were the only ones in the airport with no mask on. Like, literally, it was like a shock out of this world. And we were like, yo, this looked like a scene out of a movie right now. And we felt real, like, because people were staring at us like we were sick. Like why don't wear your mask? Because nobody told us to mask up or anything before we even got off the ship.
What was that? So did you have to stay on the ship for a week after they shut the ports down?
We stayed on. When they was shutting down the ports, we was at sea, because we was just coming in from, I want to say, whatever, St. Kitts or somewhere, whatever island. It was 2 islands that we could not port, and we were literally just sitting out at sea. And they finally made a call into St. Thomas, who let us port there, since it was, U.S. territory, and we all have phone service. So we had a big party that night before, because we could see St. Thomas sitting on the side. So we were literally just partying outside. Everybody was like rejoicing that, they was going to let us in the port. So we was like calling our family members and, going live. So it was really crazy, but it was fun times, but it was really a sense of kind of panic at the moment, because we didn't really know how serious it was.
How long did they keep you on the ship?
I would say 3 days at the most.
You only stayed on for a few days, and then
because we we were at the end of the contract at that point, and when we was to port, I think it was that Saturday or Sunday in Fort Lauderdale, you couldn't beat me to the front of the line because it was time for us to go, and it was the ending of the contract, and so it happened at the right time, you know. And I felt bad for a lot of the new bands that got on there to replace us and to come on board because they didn't get an opportunity to work, you know.
Right.
And it stopped everything for them, you know. And I really felt bad because, you know, that's people's jobs, you know, and, you know, to not have that opportunity, man, that I know that must have sucked, you know.
Man.
And I'm also glad that, you know, I was able to plan for these times. Like, I've really been blessed to stay afloat and even do music in these times. You know, it's been some trying times for certain of my musician friends, and you know, uh, I can't say I don't know what that feels like. You know, and my heart and my prayers goes out to um, musicians, man, because you have a lot of musicians don't have health care. They don't have the means. They don't. Some don't have a lot to fall back on, you know. And musicians are some prideful people. We are some prideful people when it comes to, you know, what we do. We take pride in it, and we don't like to show hurt a lot of times, and we don't like for people to know when we hurt a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that can be hard on the ego, you know, and that can either make or break you, you know, because when you come from here and have to come back to here, it's hard. Like, you know, sometimes you have some nights where you cry yourself to sleep, you know, and they always see us upbeat, and they don't see the downtime. They don't see when we're sad. They don't see when we're going through, you know. They always see us in the light, so they don't think we go through things. They think we invincible people and that we don't have feelings for some reason. But, you know, we lack to get to where we're trying to go a lot of times. We go through a lot more than people know. You know, we take a lot more than people know. So
You know, people only see us when we're on stage.
that's it. That's it.
The only knowledge of us, you know, when we're at our best and we look our best and we're wearing our best clothes and
yeah. And you know, even you know, the experience of being out there and people come up to you and they ask you the same questions, you know, and it's sometimes you get burnt out on it, but you know, even sitting around now, you miss those times. You miss the times of having the opportunity just to make people happy and to make them smile. And, you know, I had people come up to me. It was a lady. She was out there and she had like 3 months to live. And you never know what people are going through. Like, you know, we had people come in wheelchairs and people like just going through whatever, you know, and, you know, you like, wow, man, like, you know, I still have the activities of my limbs to do and to provide for these people and to be able to give back and see them happy. And people would leave the shows like, wow, man, like you did this for me. You know, that means a lot. You know, that lets me know I blessed somebody and was able to give into them that they came on there with, you know, probably sad or, you know, downbeat or whatever. But when they leave, they come to you, you know, thanking you for that. And that means so much to me. Like, you know, that means the world to me. And it's the times now that I look back and see what I did contribute and think, wow, you know, even though I'm going through these times or we're going through these times, that, you know, we're going to be all right. We're going to make it through this. We're going to push together, you know, and that's what it's about, man. We got to work together, push together. I'm glad that, you know, giving me this opportunity to even speak right now, you know.
Oh, come on. I love it. This is so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is.
So one more question. So you're in Tennessee then?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the best place for people to find you?
I have an artist page if people wanna, because I got two pages actually. I got a just a personal page on Facebook, but my artist page on there is Kickman Teddy. My personal page is KM Teddy.
Okay.
I just switched it up to give the identity of Kickman Teddy its own identity with my artist page. So that's up and running. They can find me on there. They can find me on Instagram, Kickman Teddy. Pretty much Kickman Teddy everything. If you go on Twitter, I'm on there, Kickman Teddy. I have a link on my Instagram for Command Shift. You can go purchase the new record, Cruising with Mike Sweep and Kennard Thomas. Shouts out to those guys for their contribution on the album. And yeah, I'm Kickman Teddy all day long. You can find me anywhere. If you type my name in, I'm there. Spotify, iTunes, everywhere.
I'm gonna put all your links in the video here. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on and talking to me. I'm so blessed to have you on today and here.
Thank you.
If I were over there, I'd give you a big, huge hug.
I know. I miss you, and I miss you playing, man. I miss hearing like you're amazing, man. I gotta tell you that. Like I don't think I ever told you that, but you're an amazing person as well as an artist, you know, and keep doing your thing. I'm glad you have this platform to do this, and you're doing an awesome job, and I thank you for having me, for real.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
I am going to keep up with whatever you're doing, so
thank you.
All right?
Likewise, and I'll keep up with you as well, and don't let this be the last time we talk. I got your number. We'll keep in touch, for sure. For sure.
Of course not. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Got my girl sitting next to me pretty. I'm about to roll out and we going all out. You see that? You see that? I got my drop top down in the city. Got my girl sitting next to me pretty. She wanna pull over so we can get busy. In the city, you see that? In the city. Ain't no time to waste. Got the top back on some split and chin. Don't know how to act. But shorty by my side.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Sarah Angel Podcast. If you'd like to be featured on the show, go to sarahangelmusic.com and click Podcast to apply. Please like and subscribe to the Sarah Angel YouTube channel to receive updates on shows, new music videos, and more. This has been a production by Sarah Angel Music, copyright 2020, all rights reserved.